Hello there, Briar Rose Brigade. I'm Thorn, I use he, him, his, and welcome back to my gothic grotto, which is the daytime version currently because I'm filming this while the sun is up. Anyway, we are on episode 12, yes. Okay, so now it's time for the intro. This is my co-goat, Banros, little green beanie baby goat, who you might remember. It's been a long time. I've been trying so hard to get time to film and space to film, just in terms of there being a lot of people in my house and a lot of commotion, which makes it really hard to. I chose late at night as my usual filming time so that I hopefully wouldn't bother other people, since my bedroom is basically just some privacy screens set up in the living room right next to the front door, which is great when you have PTSD. But my family's more late owl, like night owl type people than I counted on. So also the big thing last month was my sister's wedding, which, I mean, it was beautiful. I'm really happy for them. My sister and her new husband are great people. A lot of people that came to the wedding, like our extended family, not all of them, but some of them were people that parts of the whole situation was very difficult for me as a trans pagan in the birth family that I have, because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Like, I didn't expect there to be overt trouble, but I just didn't know. It's hard to predict these things. Luckily, nothing happened, but I was feeling pretty nervous and unsafe for a lot of it, unfortunately. And I don't want to brush that off, but I also don't want to dwell on it too much and make. I don't want to. I want to share, but not trauma dump on you. So, but also there were some really good parts of the wedding. I was able to reconnect with some old friends and also to connect with some actually really supportive and safe family members and just people in general. And I was able to do a lot of healing work of the type that's like setting a bone, like really not fun, but you kind of have to do it. I mean, like inner healing work. Basically, so I'm pagan polytheist, as you might know. I'm laughing because I happen to wear my Jareth, the Labyrinth, from the Labyrinth shirt, which I wear because it reminds me of my patron god, Gwen Upneath. But it, anyway, he has been helping me get a lot, like do a lot of trauma healing the last several years, and get a lot of build up my own self-worth and self-confidence, and a lot of that has been learning to recognize when certain things that I wish could happen are just not going to. And it's very hard to lie to yourself, even like it's hard to lie to yourself about either positive or negative things when you're around him, I find. And he's there for me when I need help and support to face the truth, but it can still be kind of difficult. And the truth I'm talking about in this case is like some of the birth family relationships that I have spent so many years trying to fix and reach out to the people and explain, hey, this thing you're doing is hurting me. Could you please stop? Like, I'd like to set this boundary, and I do love you and want to be around you, but first, we need to deal with this thing. And in a lot of those cases, even the conversation has just been met with like, oh, we've got to shut that down. We can't. I'm paraphrasing and just kind of imagining what's going through their heads, because they actually don't always say a lot. Sometimes it's just like awkwardly looking at the floor, and I'm like, did I warp back to high school? What's going on? I mean, I was never in public high school. I was homeschooled, but I assume, like, I'm just like, wait a minute, I'm dealing with grown adults, right? That's about as open as I feel comfortable being about that situation. But like, it's really frustrating and heart-wrenching. Some of these people I do really love, but I've realized over the past couple of years, I cannot build a bridge by myself, and my own well-being is always going to be more important to me than staying with someone who doesn't want to treat me right, whether that's, someone like in a romantic way or like a family way. I was gonna say like my ex. I don't know why I did this, but like who I used to. Obviously, I left them, but actually, I have news that again I can't talk about too much, but like it's very surprising and positive news that's not quite set in stone. So like, please send prayers and good vibes and good wishes, like incense, candles, whatever. Pour one out for me. Any deity or spirit that you think would be amenable. But I mean, my gods are also helping with this, and I think they've been working on it for a long time. But it looks like my financial situation, and therefore my living situation, will change in a good way pretty soon. That's all I'm going to say about that. But obviously I'm excited and relieved because I'm not doing well at all in this situation. So I know I need to get out soon for my own well-being. And I think that once I have my own space that's closer to my chosen family, I can work on building up my own income from like my crochet pattern business and like various kinds of freelancing. For example, as a graphic artist, since my crochet patterns are pixel art crochet charts, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy for me to also go into the graphic artist direction. So I'm looking into, okay, what does that entail? And I'm starting to put up speed paints on my YouTube of safe for work pictures, because that way I don't have to worry about, like, oh, should I censor them? But that's no fun if I have to censor the thing that you're watching me draw, like, so also that way I get to practice drawing in the pixel art style for my webcomic, which I will make at some point. out of a story that was going to be a novel, then it was going to be a webcomic in my old style, and now it's going to be a webcomic in pixel art, because that's the style that I feel confident and happy about currently. So, and it's nice to know that I can, like, I love my usual pixel art style that I have to censor, but it's nice to know that I can make things that are more accessible to people that don't necessarily want to see that, or maybe are younger. And I mean, I'm still not going to overtly market anything, even my safer work art, to younger people, because I don't want them to stumble on my other art. But still, it's nice to know there are options. I just posted another speed paint of one that's inspired by Kayla from Altnots. So I've been having a good reaction from that one, including from her. I showed it to her first. Her or them, going by the pronouns on their Instagram bio, and I'm just really happy that I'm getting so much love from that one. So thanks. If any of you are watching this and also saw that one. Also, speaking of, thank you for continuing to subscribe, even though I'm having a bit more time between episodes currently. Like I've gotten a few new subscribers since last time, and I appreciate that a lot. Also, thanks for your patience with the closed captioning situation. I try to get the previous one captioned before the next one goes up, but as of recording, I haven't started on the previous one. So, I mean, we will do our best. I believe that I will be able to record more regularly, probably later in the summer and the fall, because that's when I expect that I might have my own place, and I'll have more space, like a bit more soundproofing. At least like having a real door and walls will be better, and I can record during the workday when people are expecting some like low amount of noise, since I essentially will work from home. And I'm leaning on my knee, but I feel like it looks weird. There. Now I'm leaning on my desk. And I'll have a lot more energy to be able to do stuff as well, because I find that when I'm not around certain individuals in my birth family, it's pretty obvious which ones, but I'm just going to have plausible deniability of not saying exactly who it is. Then like I have so much more the energy and drive and focus and creativity, because I'm not feeling beaten down. Speaking of, those folks are gone for this weekend, so that's why I've taken the opportunity to film now, before the Alt School Squad live stream starts. Like, I have to get this in before then, because I'm going to the Yarn Dungeon later. So, I think it's time for a coffee break. Speaking of the Ghoul Squad. This is Deathwish, Valhalla Java, and it's in my Mysterious Mist Moose mug with the white outline of the moose on the blue mug. It's kind of ceramic, I think. And this isn't coffee, but it's my New Zealand colorful cartoon sheep mug. I made iced tea last night because I was like, well, the fridge has more space for a couple days, so may as well make stuff that I want to make. And I'm going to make iced tea so often when I'm in my own place. It is very hot. Like, it's 4 p.m., 86 degrees Fahrenheit, which it could be hotter. I mean, at least it's not humid, but like still that feels like a lot. We're just in a heat wave right now. We're the hot part of summer in California, Southern California. I'm looking forward to it being slightly cooler up in the Bay Area. So, right, now I guess I'll give you some crochet updates. Working on my pixel art graph can of Gwyn as a like modern goth biker leader of the Wild Hunt. We're halfway up his face. And you can see his dragon and antler tattoos on his chest with some yarn that is like this is the front, but it's the strands of yarn are not as tangled as they could be. They're doing pretty good, especially since I try to weave in or tie off ends as I go. And then if a color ended like down here and I kept going and there's still a long strand, then I'll just snip that off so it's not adding to the yarn carnage. But I'm not going to completely detangle it until it's like the official unveiling, I guess, of the finished product. And speaking of, I do have a finished object. Remember the skull shawl that I was doing for my friend who's a devotee of Hades? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Also, I do. It's done. It's huge. So it's a skull lace shawl in black and teal yarn. And I think it's in Lion Brand Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling. And I started running out of yarn in the last little bit, so I got creative and I decided it would look cool to just finish the skulls and have them poke out of the edge. And then it looked a bit weird because I was going back and forth, and it looks kind of like not very smooth, just like Legos kind of. So I covered that with an extra border, and I played around with doing the single crochet border in black in some parts and then green in some parts. And after that I still had some green left over. I completely finished off the black yarn. So I thought, well, I may as well do something nice and extra. Do something totally extra with the green yarn. So I made a little coaster. I found it. I looked up how to make mint leaves, and this is supposed to be a little coaster. I did 4 of them, and then attached them. Because mint is sacred to Hades, so I felt like this person would like that, and they did. They were thrilled. And I'm looking forward to getting the whole thing to them. I still have to wash and block it, but I'm very happy with that. And also, I am not going to take any more commissions at this point, because I realized it takes, like, I'm happy to do it sometimes, especially for, like, and for this friend I was happy to do it, but, like, mostly it just takes a lot of time, and I don't enjoy it as much as I do just making my own patterns and letting other people make what they want. So I think that besides my Gwyn Grafgan, I'm also going to work on my pumpkin poet shirt, which I haven't worked on for a while. Also the other poet shirt and the vest. So I have several whips, but, like, this is the one that I'm working on this sleeve right now, trying to figure out how to decrease, since it could be like a long, like a poet shirt sleeve that gathers at the wrist, but I live in California, so I'd prefer to have at least one of my poet shirts be more like short sleeve, but still have the gathered look. So I'm trying to figure out how to like, do I want to decrease or actually gather with, like, in a more sewing type of way where you thread something through and then tighten it, or do I want to decrease so that the gathering is actually, or the smaller cuff is actually part of the sleeve. And I am trying to decrease, but it's hard to figure out how fast to do it, I guess, and in what stitch. So I might be working on that tonight in the yarn dungeon. And I would like to finish that one and then do a second version to, like, iron out the kinks. But I think the second version will be in a lighter weight yarn, and it'll be yarn that's not just from my stash, so that I know exactly what weight it is and stuff. And I just enjoy smaller yarn for this type of thing, but I know a lot of people also love worsteds, so I'll probably want to have 2 versions of the pattern at some point. So keep your eyes open. It'll probably be coming out at least in draft form, or, like, looking for testers this fall sometime, which is the right time, you know, a pumpkin themed poet shirt. So also my other poet shirt, which I'm hoping I can finish soon, but there's just been a lot going on, and I haven't felt like I can, like, I have very much energy to tackle things. Oh yeah, like spoons. I don't really have that many spoons to use that metaphor. So I've just been trying to get through, especially this past week. I've been really anxious about the divorce situation, which is moving forward, but also the fact that I probably have a way to move out is making me extra anxious because, like, when you have hope, it's like you also get more scared. So, again, good wishes for that, please. My auxiliary mug, I think I showed last time, but also this time it's the Cauldron mug with art by Anne Stokes that my friend sent me. Has a blue-white dragon on one side, and then a circular Celtic-looking design that says Wheel of the Year, Solstice on the other side. Winter solstice. Because my patron god, Gwyn, for me at least, he has a dragon form, and he's a winter god, so I believe that's why my friend got this one. But what they didn't know is that Anne Stokes is one of my favorite gothic artists. I have a tarot deck by them, or at least with art by them, so that's cool. Well, I hope that your Pride went okay. I enjoyed seeing what various people were doing, but I was mostly taken up with my sister's wedding, which was in June. Though I did wear the sparkly rainbow mesh crop top, which was a pattern that I tested for alt knots. I can link that pattern, I think. Yeah, it should be probably on Ribbler now, or at least there might be a video about it, so I'll try to find where the pattern is now. But anyway, it was really fun to be part of that testing group. And let's see, I'm trying to think what else I might want to talk about, because I've finished most of the updates in a lot shorter time than I expected, so we might go into some weird pagan mystical stuff, if you don't mind, because this is the channel where I do that more, as well as my blog, like Starstruck, my blog, Starstruck Awanith, and I've recently been posting some of my recent songs there. It was kind of weird for a long time. I just felt like I could not write. Words weren't coming because I just felt too sad about not being where I want to be, and like being in a place that causes me a lot of pain. Living situation. And then I felt my voice returning, and it wasn't about the things I thought I'd be writing about. It was talking about that pain, so that was a lot. But I'm happy with the songs that I've written so far. There's one recently that was about the stuff I was dealing with at the wedding. One of the big things I was letting go was so if any of you are queer like me, or like for that reason or any other reason have like estrangements from family who have children, that's your trigger warning for that. Also, I may be mentioning loss of a child. Not sure if I'll get into that much, but so a while back when I first sorry, one second. Okay. A while back when I first when the lack of when basically my sister and I mutually went no contact except through our shared family members, and this was shortly after her second kid, her niece, was born. I mean, my niece. And I realized that, yeah, it's. I mean, she initiated it, but I realized, wait a minute, that I really should have been the one to do this a long time ago, because she just hasn't been good to me ever, and I've tried really hard to appease her, but it hasn't worked. And also, she said some pretty bad, like, transphobic things to me, and like very concern trolling. It was not it was not a fun message to receive. But what really got to me was that I wasn't going to be able to be in my niece's life, and I wasn't quite sure why I was affected so strongly by that. And like even more than my nephew, I was just like, wow, I'm not gonna get to be in this young girl's life, and for some reason that just hurts, even more than, like, of course I'd want to be in my nephew's life, but like I'm just like, why is this like hitting something so deep? And I go into more about this on my blog, which is about pagan things, so that's partly why I'm sharing here. But very recently, Gwen helped me realize why that hit me so hard. And so, as a pagan polytheist, I do believe in past lives, and I believe that I have recovered some memories of mine with Gwen's help. And it's weird because from my perspective, so I'm just going to talk about them as if this is true, because this is my experience. It's fine if you have other beliefs, but so I had found out about my most recent one a few years ago, actually, when I was first meeting Gwen. Well, a few months after, but like within the first year, he shared with me some of our past history, because I've known him in previous lives, and but I didn't know this one this one experience I had, which is that my understanding is that I had a daughter that I lost pretty soon. So like recently I've just been processing that, and it's interesting because that daughter is someone I know very well in this life. My character Tarlin, and like I refer to her as my spirit friend, which she has become now. And at first she was just one of my characters, and I didn't think of my characters as like spirits, partly because I had no idea what I was doing really, but I was kind of interacting with them like a spirit worker. I just didn't know. I just wasn't thinking of it in that term, and in those terms. And then I had some experiences where I was like, it feels like Tarlin's the spirit of my world in some way. and my world is also like my kid, but also she is. And that's one reason why I don't talk about this much, because I'm like, I don't want to say something that people will not understand, or like it's hard to explain, so please bear with me. But anyway, this, I think that, so I know that my stories were kind of a rebirth of stories I was telling in that life, and now I think that they were kind of inspired by wanting to give another life to that daughter that I had, and so that she could come back in the stories. And I think that's what happened again in this life. And it it's weird because when I have these memories, it feels like like I experienced that in the first person, and like I have first person knowledge of it, but at the same time I can't tell someone, like I would never want to tell someone in this life who had lost a kid that I also know what that's like, because I just feel like that would not be respectful. But I still feel like I have, so it's really weird, and I'm glad I have some people to talk to about my mystical experiences, but I have to be really careful about who I do talk to about that. And I will be moderating the comments. Most of you who regularly watch should be fine. It's just like people who are obviously trolling or trying to be mean. That's who I'll be watching for. So one interesting thing is that one story that I always have, that I've told several times about kind of encountering Gwen before I knew who he was in this one song. There's this one song that I wrote before knowing who he was, except I was doing a lot of work with the Horned God in a Wiccan context, and that turned out to be Gwen, for me at least. And I was writing this song about my grief about my sister's kids and not getting to see them, and the main symbol of the song was that I wasn't the little mermaid who lost her voice. I'm actually a siren who has found my voice now, and my voice is my voice might feel dangerous to people who would want to silence me. Basically talking to the more problematic members of my family. And in the middle of that song, I just suddenly got grabbed by inspiration. This feeling came over me, and I found myself writing these words. I call for revolution. May my hymn stir the abyssal dreamer. And then the feeling passed, and I was like, wait a minute, who is the abyssal dreamer? I hope that's the Horned God, because otherwise I don't know which deity or ancient eldritch power it was. Could be Cthulhu, I don't know. Like, Horned God, what just happened? And if you know Gwen, or have heard me, or like Lorna Smithers, who has a blog about her experiences with him, or other devotees of his talk about him, it's like, yeah, that's a pretty Gwen thing to do. But at the time I was just like, what happened? So looking back after I met him by name, I was like, oh right, that's who that was. But it was weird because he just kind of hijacked my song about wanting to be there for my niece and nephew, even though I knew that it wasn't the healthiest thing for me to be doing. But I was just kind of ignoring that and then just being like, no, I'm just going to stay here and just linger even though I should be moving on. And I'm not saying that that is always the right choice for everyone to move on, just like in my case. I could tell. And so that song, I didn't know it at the time, but it was partially fueled by that grief from my previous life and the daughter that I lost. And the weird thing was that, so there's a lot of mention of a siren, and I found out recently that her name in that life wasn't Tarlin, it was Sirenia. So that's cool. And that happened, I didn't think of that until it happened a second time in the song I recently wrote on my blog, when I referred to Gwen as my Siren King, and then went, wait a minute, oh right, because by that point I knew her name previously. So, and it's interesting, there have been different times when I've felt like this sudden fear for the safety of usually a younger female, either relative or like friend's kid that I care about, and I'm suddenly like, oh no, what if something bad happened to them? And I have to kind of calm myself down and go, no, it's fine. Probably nothing bad's gonna happen. But I think I know where some of that is coming from now. It's a lot to deal with. And so it was really hard to see my sister's kid, who I don't really feel like I can call my niece, because I mean my sister isn't really, I mean, the way I define family now is based on not on the biology or legal stuff, but what they actually do. So this person is not my sister at this point. But it was really hard seeing her kid at the wedding, because she's really cute, and like, she's gorgeous, she's really cute. She was the flower girl, and she was running around and playing. Sorry, 1 second. That was my alarm for getting ready for the Altnots live, so I have to go soon. Besides, it's just about that time. It's been a while of talking, so I'm happy with the length of this episode. But yeah, my other sisters are still in touch with her, and so she knows every member of my family except me, and I don't know what my sister has told her about me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I was referred to as an aunt instead of an uncle, because, you know, her views on trans people. I don't really want to know, because it just hurts, and I'm careful with what I let myself engage with right now, because I don't have a lot of spoons to deal with that, and also keep my spirits up in my situation. So I think once I move out, I'll be able to have a lot more of that resilience. But right now, I just need to. I just need to focus on that hope for the future. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. It's been really great to do another episode. I hope I can get this up soon, and hopefully do at least one more this month, but we will see. In any case, happy Summerween. I'll let Banros say anything that he might want to say. I never know what he's going to say until I add it in post. I kind of get Gwen's help with going, okay, so what did my goat want to tell me this time? Or tell you. So anyway, it's not midnight, but let's pretend. And let's dance again at the next midnight.